What's up, guys? It's the third video that I've done tonight. It's only 9:50, but third video that I've done tonight, and figured since we're on the topic, let's do it. As you guys may know, I recently have decided to, as of a week ago, to basically revisit care tips, care guide, whatever you want to call it. And this video is just like the last two, but today we're talking about sand boas. Kenyan sand boas, to be exact. There is a few different types of sand boas. Kenyan sand boas are also known as a old world species. This here is a stripe. All she is just, I don't know if you guys can really see it too well. She's just got one dorsal stripe. Pretty girl. But there's obviously not as many not so much genetic, but there's not so many morphs in with the sand boas as there is with, say, ball pythons, reticulated pythons, Burmese pythons, blood pythons, short-tailed pythons, corn snakes. The list goes on and on. There's really not that many morphs when it comes to the sand boas. I do own the stripe, and I own a pair of anarthuristics, which are basically the same as exanthic when it comes to ball pythons. So basically just gray, black and white, where typical coloration is going to be like this orange and brownish to a black color for a normal. However, we're not talking about genetics here. We are talking about basic care. Now, obviously, as you can see, she is tiny. She's actually the biggest one that I have. The other two are not far behind her, but pretty far behind her at the same time in retrospect. Now, these guys, again, sexual dimorphism takes place, and the females will be the bigger of the sexes. Males, about 1.5 feet. That's really all they get. Females, about 3 feet, if you're lucky. Typical female is about 2.5, but again, if you're lucky, you can get them up to 3 feet. Obviously, these guys are going to eat rodents. Something this size, you're going to want to feed pinkies, obviously, because they're not going to be able to take down a jumbo. But definitely an awesome species nonetheless. And in my last video, I talked about loose substrate. This is the only species that I would really, or not so much the only species, but the only category of species. Sand boas are the only animals that I would recommend loose substrate for, regardless. And when I say loose substrate, I mean like sand or ground up coconut fibers, plantation soil, whatever it may be. I don't mean like cypress mulch, as I mentioned previously. Some people also keep these guys in aspen. They don't require high humidity. They are from Africa, and their humidity, guys, I'm dying. I don't know what's wrong with me. Their humidity is going to be about 30%. You could go to 35, between 25 and 35. If they're in shed, obviously you can bump it up a little bit more because it will help them shed. It will help them get that loose skin off of them. These guys can live up to 20 years, which again is a commitment for some people, but they're really docile. They're great beginner animals if you're not going to hold them much, because these are terrestrial animals. They will actually lay in the ground. If you've ever seen the movie, what is it, Tremors? I think I'm pronouncing that right. But basically, these guys, like, they literally lay in wait under the sand or loose substrate and wait until the right moment when their prey is right on top of them and they actually ambush, which is awesome. It's really great to see. It's really cool to watch. But Can I get my finger? With these guys being so small, 20 to 30 gallon, you'd be just fine in with a large female. Would do just fine in, like I said, a 20 to 30 gallon. Now, a lot of people, if they're doing the tank setups, they want to have their cosmetics or whatnot to a T. They want it to look basically visually appealing. Sand boas don't care. These guys, they're terrestrial. They're not gonna come out, excuse me, they're not gonna come out and climb sticks, crawl on sticks, whatever. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna stay burrowed under the substrate, and obviously depending on how thick your animal may be, an animal like this, anywhere between an inch to 2 inch substrate is more than enough. Obviously, as they get bigger, you're going to want to get a little bit more substrate down there just so obviously they can hide and feel safe. You don't need to buy hides for these guys. You just need substrate and a water bowl, and you're good to go. With the temperatures, obviously, their daytime temperature is going to be about 80, and night drop can go up to about 70, and their hot spot, you're looking at about 90. Sorry, some people do 100 for a hot spot. I sit at 90, and 90 with an 80% ambient, and night drops just 10 degrees. And that's what I do. Again, everybody is different, but look how small these guys are. Like, they're so tiny. They're awesome animals. Being that this is a boa, they actually give live birth. So if you do keep a male and a female together, people do it all the time. But if you keep a male and female together that, you know, reach adulthood and they reach sexual maturity and breed, you could end up with babies and no eggs. You'll never see eggs from a boa. Before I eat my own words, to my knowledge, if you guys know something that I don't, leave a comment down below. That'll be great. But to my knowledge, there's no eggs with any boa species. So you'll end up just seeing live little babies, and you might not know what the heck happened, but that's what happened. Now, don't get me wrong, there is definitely documented cases of these animals, especially if you get, say, an adult from a breeder. She could retain the semen from the last breeding. She could also asexually reproduce. It has been documented. Not saying that it happens all the time, but it could happen. So you could end up with babies and never have a male living with her, or never have her paired up to a male before. But guys, I think that's going to be it. If you guys have any questions that maybe I didn't go over in any of these videos in this playlist, make sure you leave a comment down below to let me know what your question is, and I will make sure to answer it for you, whether it be directly in the comments or a video answering your question. But I love you guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. Take care.